When it comes to the product B-rolls that I make, I think I have actually fallen in love with bottles, with liquids, playing around with colors, with lighting, glassy reflective surfaces, all the things that you can mention when it comes to intricate, shots of products. And I did one some time ago, which I actually have the video, the B-roll sequence of a ginger beer over here on my YouTube channel. I'm going to link it up there so you check it out. And in today's video, we're going to look at how I shot it and, some few things that I can be talking about. I wouldn't really go into detail. I want to make this as short as I can, but it's still going to be packed with the process that I went through with the lighting assistance I had, as well as, the shots that I took. I actually shot my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera 4K, and I used my Godox SL60W in a 95cm octabox to light the set to help aid the behind the scenes camera, which was being handled by my brother, and I also had a little brother helping out for the most part with the shots themselves. Because I've done this over and over again, it made it quite easy for most of the shots to be taken. The setup and the configuration of everything that I put together was actually a very simple setup with a glass platform I placed on a table just to give that surface feel of some glossiness, because the glass of course is also glossy in nature. I chose this product because I simply love the label design. It's white in color with the description written on it, and the bottle, which is brown, gave me a lot of contrast to work with. I love contrast a lot, so anything that comes in play in that nature is always a go-to. Anytime I'm taking product shots of bottles, there's something I always go for. I always go for a spraying gun. Okay, even though I would always also resort to pouring the drink out of the glass into a glass, I decided not to go with that order this time, but instead stay away from pouring the drink or pouring anything out of the bottle, but still have a wonderful sequence that will make sense, that can be used as an advert. All right, so I resorted to dropping the bottle from the top, and with some kind of visual appeal, I decided to make it shake, and with the help of sound design, I was able to make this. So as the bottle shook and one topples over and falls, it doesn't actually shatter, as a lot of people may have thought. It rather falls into a container of water. I wished I had a fish tank, but I had to pick out the containers, the compartments that you can find in freezers and fridges. I took one out and I poured into it water, and I dropped the bottle into it, even though I made some cracks because the depth of the container wasn't as deep. So the bottle, being heavy, relatively hit the bottom of the container and it created a crack. It still held the water and everything was fine in the end. So I got these wonderful shots by dropping the bottle into the water, cut the sequence, put it together real quick so that you wouldn't really notice a lot of things that were, I would describe as imperfections. But with the help of editing and some quick cuts, I was able to achieve this as well. Spraying onto the bottles to make it look like they are perspiring is something I really love. Okay, I use a spray gun every time. This time I wasn't lucky. I've messed up my spray gun, which is very fine in its spurts. I had to resort to one that spurts a whole lot of volume. I still made it work because after all, I was still gonna have the perspiration on the bottles. I always need to have that so that it makes it look cold. Okay, so with two lights, I used an LED panel from one side, and the other side yet another LED panel. Even though you see the SL60W in the softbox next to the setup, I didn't actually make it influence the setup. Sometimes I would turn it off, but because of the behind the scenes, I would turn it back on, so I'll film how I did it or how I achieved the shot. So with these two LED panels, they're actually bicolor, which means I can turn it cold or warm in temperature or in white balance. And they're actually YN300 Mark III, I think. Yes, from Yongnuo. Using these LED panels were quite of a challenge because of the amount of blast that the light produced. I had to diffuse it either way. I didn't have diffusion panels around, so I improvised. I used a sheet of paper which is a little bit translucent, pasted in front of the light, and I was able to diffuse that a little bit to a particular degree. But for the most part, I was using it as harsh as I could because I wanted the particles of the spurts of water to really look appealing and sharp in contrast. So as it glimmers in the light, you could also see the motion and it looked so appealing. I was using a lot of backlighting configuration because with backlit, you can actually see how objects have the light wrapping around them to make them have that three-dimensional look, to make it look solid and to make it have that real feel to it. And to give it that finale effect, I had to shake the bottle as hard as I could because it doesn't have a lot of carbonation in there. So I had to shake it as many as I could. In fact, I actually had to swap the bottle for another, close it back up. You didn't really notice because I was very gentle with the opening of the cap. So I put it back onto the bottle, picked up another one, shook it as hard as I could, and I made another trial and it actually worked this time. Looking back at the sequence, I have the shot beginning and also ending the sequence. This shot, I used a colander, right? A simple colander that we use at home to prepare food. I had it up above the shot with my little brother holding onto the light, backlit a little bit, but this time we're gonna work with a little bit more motion. So as I poured the water into the colander, it gave me this rain effect. It hit the surface of the base, which is glass, and because the light is up above, it shines and it hits the top of the bottles. With the caps also white in nature, it reflected the light and made it look cool. And because these bottles are also translucent with a liquid in it, it created some much more visual appealing effect because I also had yet another light hidden right behind the bottles that I set in front of the camera. You can't really see it because of how I arranged it and how I positioned the camera to keep it hideous, okay? To keep it hidden. And with the light from above and the camera in place, yeah, I hit the record button, poured the water into the colander, hit the bottle as the light was moving forward, back and forth, back and forth. We were able to achieve this wonderful effect. And so yeah, that's how I shot this ginger beer B-roll sequence. Even though I didn't have high hopes because I didn't go for the traditional pouring into a glass, it still came out great, and I think yeah, people really appreciated it when I put it on my Instagram. And yeah, I'm looking forward to creating more B-roll sequences of liquids, but you know, going with different approaches like I did with this one, and it turned out great. And I hope that the subsequent ones will also equally turn out great. So thank you very much for watching this video to the very end. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it across all social media platforms, and of course, turn on the post notification button so that you can be notified anytime I upload a new video over here to my YouTube channel, which I do consistently. Yeah, thank you very much once again, and I'll catch you later. See ya.